Hey, this is Dr. Josh Matthews. We're going to do a quick video on certain camera movements, zoom ins and zoom outs.
Hold it! Whoa, steady, ho.
As it hits a target and the destruction that it causes. Take, for instance, what you carry, 9mm hollow.
Let's talk about zoom ins first. Zoom ins are simple. It's when a camera goes into the figure that it is focusing on. The zoom in can be very quick,
Good night, darling.
or it can be very slow or medium paced. Usually if the zoom in is quick, that means something very particular. It usually means we are getting into a character's head and seeing that character understand that something's being revealed to that character.
She's still here.
Who? Rachel?
Maybe that character has a new idea or a new perception of reality. It's something like that, but zoom-ins give us insight into what's going on internally in a character. And that's one problem with movies is that you don't ever have, unless you have a voiceover narrator, insight into what's going on inside a character's head. With books, you can always have first-person narrators who tell you how they feel or what they're thinking on the inside. Movies have a tougher time with that, but there's certain signals that show you what's going on the inside besides what's going on in an actor's face or in actors' nonverbal expressions. One of those is the zoom in, which says to you, oh, aha, I'm discovering something or realizing something, or I just heard news and it's shaking me up. If a zoom in goes in very slowly, and you see some of those, I would recommend Christopher Nolan movies, for example. You'll see these. That just means usually that things are getting slightly ever more intense as we go in closer and closer and closer to the character who is talking or giving a great speech. No matter what though, zoom ins give you a closer look at a figure and do actually make things more intense, whatever's going on in that moment in terms of ideas or emotions.
And what's this got to do with me, huh?
Why are you pretending to be a cop?
So next time you see a zoom in, you'll probably see it associated with telling you what's going on inside a character. That way you know how to feel about that character and that character's sudden change. There's an alternative to zoom ins, and that's not when the camera moves in, but when it cuts into somebody's face in a close up. I think this cut into a more intense close shot has a very similar kind of effect. It's probably even more jarring than a zoom in, although that's arguable. So some movie makers prefer camera movements and some prefer cuts. That's a stylistic choice, and if you're a movie maker, you've got to decide how you're going to make something seem more intense and more personal.
Long term, we may be able to prove fraud, but for now, you're completely broke. And Wayne Enterprises is about to fall into the hands of John Daggett.
The weapons.
Now let's talk about zoom outs. Zoom outs can be similar to zoom ins. They can give you a revelation or show you a character's revelation. One interesting one is in the movie Ratatouille, when at the climax, the critic Anton Ego eats the ratatouille and realizes how much he loves it. Normally in a scene like this, you would go into the character's head because what's happening in this movie is that he is imagining or remembering something. What's fascinating in this movie is that you have a zoom out. That is, the memory is greater than the person who's remembering the thing that you're seeing on screen. And this zoom out in Ratatouille is more or less accomplishing the same thing as the zoom in. It's giving you a revelation and a change of mind with this character, in this case Anton Ego. But zoom outs aren't just about the internal state of a character. They're also giving you a wider perspective on the environment in which things are taking place. A slow, steady zoom out, as in the case of Barry Lyndon by Stanley Kubrick, gives you the wider environment and the characters in their environment. Notice that the focuses of these shots get smaller and smaller and smaller as the camera zooms out slowly. The character becomes less important and smaller and meeker in the environment. Now, the zoom out can mean then just showing you context for where that character is, the overall or total environment in which he or she is. I think Barry Lyndon's a case where it's actually trying to comment on this character's power and influence. When you zoom out and show a character being small in a big, huge environment, I think this character doesn't have a lot of influence. I mean, look at all the vast space around this character. I think no matter what, though, both zoom ins and zoom outs are generally speaking giving you revelations. They're adding information and giving you key information that might change the way you think about either the character in the frame, an object in the frame, or the overall context of the shot itself. And I think no matter what, when you're going in or going out, as far as zooms go, things become more intense and it's trying to attract interest as far as the viewers go. When the camera moves dynamically, it's trying to liven things up and make things more exciting in general. Some movie makers love that. Some movie makers never use zooms in or out. And so the question is, if you've got a favorite movie maker or group of movie makers, what kind of style do you like? Maybe you actually like dynamic camera moves, or maybe you don't. Check out your favorite movie makers to see if they're doing them regularly or not. Alright, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate any comment you give me, and I appreciate any subscription. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.